Hi, my name is Ashton Marcus. I'm with KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine, and I'm with
Annie Wareham. I'm the artistic director of the Laguna Playhouse. Tonight we opened our season, our 95th season, with the production of Footloose. It's something that speaks to multi-generationally. I think people of all generations enjoy it. The movie was so iconic. The musical itself, as it was written, and the musical score is something that I think is embraced by a lot of people. And we've discovered as we've had a few performances over the last week that audiences really connect to the material.
And I'm going to add, if I may, this is Karen Wood. I'm executive director here. It's a good time. Our audience is just having a blast. It's the perfect summer fair. Annie's put together a great season for our 95th year.
Also, what is that season?
Well, we follow this we have a 6-play subscription season. The next subscription show is a world premiere of a new version of I'm Getting My Act Together and Taking It on the Road, called I'm Still Getting My Act Together and Taking It on the Road. We'll follow that up with Act 3 with Rita Rudner in January, Louie and Keeley live at the Sahara, and also a production of Byron Seller late next spring. We've got the Blues Brothers coming up at the end of the summer for 3 weeks. It's the only sanctioned Blues Brothers review by Jim Belushi's widow and Dan Aykroyd. So it's really quite a wonderful and fun evening, and we've devoted 3 weeks to that at the end of summer. So that's going to be a lot of fun.
And Paul Schaefer is the musical director, so it is a rock and rollin' band. I'm telling you, the Blues are going to rock the house at the Playhouse all the last 3 weeks of August.
You think David Letterman might show up?
I hope so. Wouldn't that be fun?
He's retired. Maybe he's got time. Who knows? He'd like Laguna.
Yeah, I've always been impressed by the Laguna Beach Playhouse. It being around here, and it being so far away from Los Angeles, but the quality has always been very good.
Well, I think that's something that's always been important to the Playhouse, is the level of work that's been done here. And you don't stick around for 95 years without having some level of artistic merit. And those who have come before us, and those who are here now, and those who will follow us, know that we carry the reputation of this theater on our shoulders. So it's been a pleasure and a privilege to do that.
And in addition to the 6-play season that Annie puts together for us, we also have community collaborators here. We work with Laguna Beach Live, who do a music festival here every year. We work with Laguna Dance Festival, and they bring principal dancers from the New York City Ballet here. Joshua Bell was a guest artistic director for the music festival a couple of years ago, and we work with the Laguna Concert Band as well. Lee Rocker was on the stage just bringing the house down last summer with the concert band. So there's a wide variety of art and entertainment that happens at the Laguna Playhouse. 330 performances a year. We are what's going on.
Were you guys involved in casting in this play?
A bit, yeah. I mean, we work with our producing partners at BB Productions. The part of the team that's come with this show is as part of their stable of actors that comes out of New Jersey. But the great thing about it was that they came out here and we cast some of these roles, many of them out of UCI, and the UCI theater program really welcomed them and opened up their space, and we did a lot of auditions there, and many of the people on that stage tonight are either alumni of UCI or current students at UCI. So it's really been nice to bridge that relationship.
So what do you guys look for in your casting?
Well, it's all about the show, and we put our trust in our directors, and fortunately we've always been able to bring in a team of people who, directors at their best are great casting directors. So we've been able to rely on that, and it's served us well.
So to have 19 young, energetic people on this stage all summer long is just a joy. It is so much fun. It's infectious. The word is out in town. Thank you for helping us spread it.
Sure. Okay, and a little bit about my show. I have just done my 70th segment, which means I've seen 70 shows this year alone.
Oh my gosh!
Wow.
I'm on pace to sing about 200 shows a year.
Wow.
Well, I get invited to 300 shows a year. But one thing I want to tell you about, I've seen so many community theater, and they would just die to be in your situation because it's so hard to fill the house, and you've got the entire house full. Every single time I come here, it's like standing room only. What kind of advice can you give to those other community theaters?
Well, look, it took us 95 years to get where we are right now. We've been through many incarnations. So, at some point, I think you just have to trust your instincts, and we all know how hard it is and how much work it takes to put theater up. Nobody's afraid of that. But I think trusting your instincts and understanding your audience are two very important things, and somehow those two things come together, and if they do, it's just kismet.
And it's true that we have great houses, and of course it all stems from the work, but there are still great seats available. So if you look us up on LagunaPlayhouse.com, you should tune in many times to LagunaPlayhouse.com just to see what's going on, because it changes all the time. 330 performances a year. Don't forget us. Come on out.
All right. Well, thank you very much for being on the show.
Thanks for having us.
It was fun. Thanks.
Hi, my name is Ashton Marcus. I'm with KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine, and I'm with
Logan Farine.
Great. And could I have a brief bio of you?
I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Went to college at Montclair State University for musical theater for a year and a half, and this is my third time at the Laguna Playhouse.
Great. And which character did you play?
Ren McCormick.
Great. And could I have a brief synopsis of that character?
Ren grows up in the town of Chicago, and when his father leaves the family, him and his mom decide to move down to Beaumont, and it is a very small town, and he doesn't work so well with all of the hustle, or the not so hustle and bustle of the small town of Beaumont. And he just wants to dance, and nobody wants to let him dance. And hopefully he changes that.
I was actually impressed with your triple threat. Your acting, your singing, and your dancing.
Thank you very much. Training in Pittsburgh and New Jersey helped me out through here.
Wait, so, when did you first start doing this? When did you first start singing and dancing?
I did a few shows in junior high, 7th, 8th, and 9th grade, but 10th grade is when I got serious about it and started actually training, and haven't stopped.
Amazing. So it took until junior high to realize that you can actually sing and dance?
I couldn't even try to dance until probably my senior year. Just the classes got me going with that.
Well, that's actually amazing, because a lot of the people that I speak to actually start dancing very young.
Yeah.
It's to the point where it's like they never really had much of a life before they danced.
Exactly. Most of my friends have started very young. But I know a lot of guys seem to start later.
Well, I guess if you keep yourself athletically in shape. Now, as for theater, when did you first realize you actually wanted to get into theater?
Probably in 9th or 10th grade. A friend of mine, Andy Miantis, saw a chorus concert and was like, "Hey, you're good. Like, you should think about this." And from that moment on, I was like, maybe I could do this. Maybe it's something I like.
Really? So is it something you're really going to be serious about, or is this basically something that you'll teach in the future or something?
I'd rather stick with it and just keep, hopefully, working. Teaching's not a bad thing, but I'd rather perform than teach to perform.
Were your parents very supportive of you in your career in musical theater?
100%. My mom was a singer, and they were all about me going for my dreams. Anything that made me happy, they're happy with.
Yeah, how important was that in pursuing a dream in musical theater? How important is that?
If I didn't have their support, I can't say I would be doing it, because what have you got without your parents? They raise you, everything you need, and if they don't support you, I can't imagine. I can't even imagine trying to do this.
So what do you think the storyline of Footloose, where the parents either don't support the kids, they don't care about the kids, or they just don't know, and their kids are just slipping away from them? What do you think about that story?
I can't relate as much because my parents were always there for me, but I feel like it would be I would be a very different person if they didn't support me as much. I would be angrier. I would probably lash out quite a bit more, but because of how good they've been to me my entire life, I feel like I've just been a nice person, been a good person because of them.
Yeah, well, again, I really liked your performance.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you.
Yeah, hi, my name is Ashton Marcus. I'm with KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine, and I'm with
Lily Davis. I'm 25 years old. I'm from Seattle, Washington. I went to school in Pittsburgh. I now live in New York City. I'm an actress, singer, model, dancer, and here I am doing Footloose. I play Ariel Moore. Ariel is a 17-year-old girl who has grown up in an incredibly small town called Beaumont. And 5.5 years prior to when the show begins, her brother died, which really is this root of the entire story. Basically, she, being the preacher's daughter, who is the power of the whole town, basically, he kind of treats her like a prisoner and makes, like they say in the play, puts impossible demands on her. And so, she feels kind of like this volcano that's constantly about to erupt. So she acts out in crazy ways, like dating boys who are bad boys. And then all of a sudden, Ren comes along out of absolutely nowhere and is her hero, which she needs, and changes her entire life, and then town's entire life.
So when did you decide to get into theater?
Well, I was in show choir my whole childhood, and after I did that, I actually studied to be a dancer for 2 years, and I got injured, so I started taking acting classes, and I actually ended up going to school for acting for 4 years, and I got very serious about it, and I was able to work professionally once I graduated with some really incredible people, and that's something that I would like to continue to do.
So were your parents very supportive of you?
I am incredibly lucky. My parents have been very, very much supportive of me my entire life. Sometimes I actually feel that they believe in me more than I believe in myself. I know that a lot of people aren't that lucky to have parents who support their children who want to be actors and in show business, but I've been incredibly lucky to have supportive parents, yeah.
So what kind of motivation did you grab in this role? Because it seems like your parents are the exact opposite. They wanted you to fulfill your dreams. In this role, it was the exact opposite. Your parents didn't want you to fulfill your dreams.
Well, yeah, I think that's an area where I got to see Ariel and myself from a different perspective, because just like you said, my parents are incredibly supportive, and her parents want her, her father at least is not in support of anything that she's doing, and so that was something that I had to kind of come to understand and learn about just through rehearsal and through research, and so I kind of brought my own experiences, but also had to learn a lot about hers.
Well, thank you very much for being on the show.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Hi, my name is Ashton Marcus. I'm with KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine, and I'm with...
I'm Ricki Pope. Four national tours I did. I did Annie, I did All Shook Up, I did Titanic, and I did a children's musical called The Stinky Cheese Man. It was lots of fun. For Dallas for most of my career, and New York for the last 8 years.
Great, and which character did you play?
Tonight I played Reverend Shaw Moore. He lost his son, and so he is convinced that it was dancing and sinning that caused his son to die, and so he is trying to keep the town from dancing.
Yeah, I loved your character because, again, it's the character who basically changes the most. They're the ones who basically are almost like the villain. Yes, I just loved your character a lot.
Oh, thank you. So do I. He goes on an amazing journey from beginning to end, and it's fun and a little scary every night.
So how'd you get your motion into this? Did you do research, or is it from someone you know?
Well, I came from Texas, so I grew up as a Southern Baptist, so I sort of knew all of that mindset set and how scary dancing is for Baptists.
Well, again, I loved your performance.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for being on the show.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, my name is Ashton Marcus. I'm with KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine, and I'm with...
I'm Jill Slider. I spent about 35 years in show business, working all over the world, and I retired about 7 or 8 years ago, and I'm in nursing school now, and I am enjoying being in theater for fun. I play Ethel McCormick, Ren's mother. Ren's mother becomes a single mother unexpectedly, and she does not have the resources to stay in Chicago with her son, so she moves in with her sister in Beaumont, Texas, and brings her son along with her, and he's in high school, and that's never fun for anybody. Well, they have a great relationship, and so he's sort of like her, and so he emulates how she would act if she were put in the same situation that he is in, which is basically to rabble-rouse and get the whole town up and dancing.
And when did you start getting into musical theater?
When I was just a tiny little thing, I did children's musical theater up in the Bay Area, and
where?
In San Jose Children's Musical Theater, which was sort of led into San Jose CLO, which was known at the time, and that became American Musical Theater, and I got the bug and got my first theme park job up there, and the rest is history.
Theme park job?
Yeah.
In where?
At the time it was called Marriott's Great America. I think now it's called California's Great America. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I think it's called Oracle now.
Yeah, it's right. Yeah. So Oracle actually dictates how loud the rides are because it's too loud over there.
So, were your parents very supportive of you?
So, as much as they could be, I think the most disappointing thing you can tell your parents is that you want to have a career in show business. So my mother said to me, I think I called her from my dorm room halfway through my first year of college, and I was weeping and saying, I don't want to be whatever I was going to be. I want to be in show business. And I heard the heavy sigh on the other end of the phone, and I heard her say, well, if you don't do it now, you're going to regret it, so you may as well do it. And so I did.
Where were you in school then?
I was actually at UC San Diego in La Jolla. Yeah.
So basically, what do you think the storyline of this, where the parents basically either don't care about the kids, or they're not supportive of their kids, or whatever, they're just not there for them?
They don't understand. They don't understand it because it's a mindset where you know you're going to be poor. You know that you are not going to actually be able to make a living. You hope that you will, and you try hard to do that, but it's a tough life, and your parents don't want their children to have a tough life. So it's very hard to be supportive.
The only problem is it's not their life, and it's a life that you're driven to, either by artistic reasons or that's just what you're supposed to be.
Absolutely.
Maybe you're not meant to be rich, you're just meant to be a struggling artist.
Exactly, yeah, and it's just hard to understand. You know, if your own child wants to be a struggling artist and you're thinking, well, so I'm going to be either sending them some money or I'm going to be hearing about how they're living on the streets, and no one wants to think about that. It's
so
too
after
hard.
all of that, you're where you are now, and how do you feel about what your life has been?
My mom was right. I'm so glad that I did it. My own personal feeling is that my career was a wild success because I never did work any other job other than in theater. And that was a big goal for me, and I attained that goal. I was not a big Broadway star. I did one Broadway show, and that was fine. But I worked all over the world. I got paid to travel, and I never had to wait on one table. So I'm chalking that up.
If you had to do it over again, would you do the same thing?
Absolutely. I absolutely would.
Well, thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Ashton Marcus with KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine, and I'm with
Mike Brennan. I'm originally from New Jersey. I came here to Laguna Beach last year to be a part of the Buddy Holly story, and I'm glad to be back here for Footloose. I play Coach Roger Dunbar and Cowboy Bob. Well, Coach Dunbar, he's a bit of a hard-nosed coach who doesn't really approve of Ren and all his shenanigans that he brings into the town of Beaumont. And Cowboy Bob is a fun-loving character at a local bar where Ren, Ariel, Rusty, and Willard go to have a nice little time and cut a rug.
So when did you start doing musical theater?
I first started doing musical theater back when I was in high school, my sophomore year of high school. I did it with a couple of my choir friends. I first started off in the choir, and then they were like, hey, you should be part of the drama club, and it all started off from there, back in high school.
Were your parents very supportive of you?
Extremely supportive. I was very blessed to have very supportive parents. I actually had a couple friends who were also involved in theater who didn't have very supportive parents, which kind of broke my heart. But I wouldn't be here without the support of my mother and father.
So what do you think the story of Footloose here, where the parents really weren't supportive of their kids when they just wanted to throw a dance?
I think it was more, as we've seen in the show, trying to, not that they were anti-dance, but more trying to preserve that memory of the 4 kids that died on that car crash, but couldn't see beyond, the repercussions of that.
Well, thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you so much.
Like 20-something hours.
Yeah. Hi, my name is Ashton Marcus. I'm with KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine, and I'm with...
Hi, I'm Ashley Martin. I am a senior in college right now. I'm from Edison, New Jersey, but I go to school at Marymount Manhattan College in New York. This is probably the longest time. This is actually my first professional job here, which is kind of exciting. And I'm just having a really awesome summer in Laguna Beach. It's kind of a great first professional job as an actor, I think. I played Wendy Jo. Wendy Jo is one of Ariel's friends in the trio that follows her around, and she is a little bit ditzy, but she's kind of like the lovable ditz one, and she's just really supportive of her friends and pretty much goes along with whatever Ariel tells her to do. So she's been a lot of fun to play.
Great. And when did you start first getting into musical theater?
My mom got me into musical theater. She would always play the Les Mis soundtracks at my house, and I would learn all the words and put on little shows by myself. And I really started getting into it in middle school, and then I decided I wanted to make it a career when I was looking at colleges. Really, it's one of those things that you kind of have to really want to do, and I decided there was nothing really else I would like to do, and this is just so fulfilling. So it's really great.
Yeah. How important do you think is to have supportive parents when you want to pursue a career like this?
I think it's really important, and it's hard when you don't have that. I know my family was scared that I wanted to go into a career that was not the most regular. It's very sporadic, and nothing's guaranteed. But I've been really lucky that they've supported me, regardless of their own personal opinions, whether or not they feel comfortable with me going to such a crazy career, and the fact that they put me through dance lessons and allow me to pursue my dreams is really amazing. So I think it's really important. Yeah.
So what do you think the storyline of Footloose, where basically the parents either weren't for their kids, or they didn't care about them, or basically they just didn't know what to do, and they just wound up not supporting them, and the kids just slipped away? What do you think about that storyline?
We had a really great discussion about this the other day with our cast, and it's not because the parents don't love their kids, but I think it's really based in their love that they're really afraid that something like the Patani Bridge accident, where children died because they think because of the dancing and the raucous partying that happened. So they still support them, but I think they let fear blind them. And I think the really important message in our show is that to not let fear charge your life, to let everyone do what their heart wants to do and be free. The whole song about
Well, thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you so much. My pleasure.
Hi, my name is Ashton Marcus. I'm with KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine, and I'm with
Michael Stancliffe. I grew up in Torrance, California, and then I discovered that I love Chinese and musical theater, so now I hope to pursue a career in musical theater in Beijing. I played Willard. Willard is kind of like a bad interpretation of him would be just a hick-town hick boy, but what really makes Willard Willard is his big heart. And when Ren comes into town, it just gives him an opportunity to open up and really to explore some new worlds. And that's kind of his character arc in the story, is he gets to really discover what it's like to just be that big, lovable guy that he is.
Great. So when did you first start getting into musical theater?
I started getting into musical theater when I was 12 years old. I was in a middle school choir, and two very talented sisters heard me sing and said to me, "We're auditioning for a show, and you're coming." And then I became the lead antagonist, and the sister was my age, became my drunk wife in the show. And so at 12, being a drunk wife, she did a pretty good job.
So were your parents very supportive of you?
Oh, extremely. They actually just walked away right now. This was this very special show for me because I actually injured myself right before this, my hamstring. I thought I wasn't going to be able to do the show, and I would call my mom and say, "Mom, I can't do this. I'm not going to be ready." And I sing a song in this show called Mama Says, "Once you climb up a mountain, you can't back down." So it was extra cool on this opening night to be able to sing that with my mom in the audience after she supported me so much.
So how important do you think it is to have supportive parents for something like this?
It's essential. It is. I wouldn't say it's essential because there are many people who have made it without supportive parents, but right now, having that backbone, knowing that, helps me believe in myself. Sometimes they believe in me more than I do.
So what do you think about this story where it's like the town, the parents, they didn't support their kids very much. It's like they didn't let them grow up. What do you think about that story?
I feel like it's really sad because that's what all these kids are screaming for. They need that support. They need to be able to believe in themselves doing something as silly as dancing. Not that dancing is silly, it's awesome. But that ability to express themselves so that they can better do other things. That they can reach out and go to college and do all those great things. And if they don't, then they're just going to be hicks in that town just like, their parents were.
Thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Ashton Marcus. I'm with KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine, and I'm with?
I'm Todd Tucker. I am from Mason, West Virginia. I've been acting professionally for about 6 years now. I've been on the national tour of The Music Man playing Marcellus Washburn, and I've been on the national tour of Titanic playing several different characters, most notably Edgar Bean, many regional theaters and local theaters. I played a bunch of characters. I played the cop, I played the principal, and I played Mean Uncle Wes.
And basically, when do you start getting into musical theater?
I did it as a child, and then I restarted doing it about 6 years ago when the recession hit.
Great. So were your parents very supportive of you?
Yes, somewhat. It's hard for them to understand. They're elderly. My father's passed away now. But it's hard for them to understand that it can be a career.
So what do you think of the storyline of Footloose, where the parents either they're not supporting their kids, or they don't care, or they just don't know what to do? I mean, and now the kids are just slipping away.
I think it's a timeless story. I think there's a point in every teenager's life where they want to feel their oats and they want to strike out on their own and they want to go out and find their own life. And I think every teenager to some extent goes through that struggle. But this one is a little bit different because of the religious overtones and the control of the church in the community. Some communities naturally have that, other communities not so much. But in this play, it's just the struggle of everybody finding who they are and being who you are without other people controlling that.
Well, thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Ashton Marcus. I'm with KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine, and I'm with
Bryce Colegas, class of 2015 UCI. I'm 21. I just graduated as a drama major from the Claire Trevor School of the Arts. This is my first post-college show, Footloose at Laguna Playhouse. It's a super exciting and amazing opportunity. There's 4 UCI students in it, and it's great to be in a professional production with other people who are also trained anteaters. I played Bickle. Bickle is one of Willard's friends. Then Willard befriends Ren, so I end up being one of Ren's friends. And we help Ren on his campaign to abolish the law against dancing in Beaumont. And so Bickle works on the posters and to push this campaign forward to get the town council to abolish the amendment against dancing.
So when did you first start getting into musical theater?
I started musical theater when I was about 9 years old, so I've been doing this a while. I started in repertory theater. My first role was Chip the Teacup in Beauty and the Beast when I was a soprano. And so I've been doing this for over 12 years now. So yeah, and then I started getting into actual dance in my early teens and training in that and voice lessons and acting class. And then went to college to study musical theater at UC Irvine. And here I am now.
Great, and were your parents very supportive of you?
I've been really lucky that my parents have supported me both financially and always backed me up and paid for dance classes and for voice lessons and put me through school to study this, and I'm really grateful for that and thankful for that.
How important do you think is that to a career in professional theater?
I think it's really important. You really need to have a support system because this is a really cutthroat industry. And at UC Irvine, we're all trained. Our training is to move us to New York City. And once you go to New York City, there's a satellite program at UC Irvine that we go and live there for 5 weeks and take classes and do auditions. That really prepares us for New York. But New York is so cutthroat, and so I think it's really important to have your support system. And so I'm really grateful to my parents to rely on them to get me through such a competitive field.
So what do you think the story here at Footloose, where the parents were actually not supportive of their kids at all?
I think that's really hard, and that's a gap to bridge a generational gap, especially in the face of tragedy. It is so hard to fight something that is founded based upon such a tragic event. But I think it's also really important that this show has such a great story about celebrating the joy of dance and dance as a healing art, and how important it is to have art in the lives of young people and old people and all people everywhere, because dance and art is how you connect culturally. There's no language barrier, there's no age barrier. Dance is universal, and so I think that's a really important message of this show.
Well, thank you very much for being on the show.
Yeah, thanks so much for coming and interviewing me. I appreciate it. Nice to meet you.
Hi, my name is Ashton Marcus. I'm with KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine, and I'm with
Sienna UC. I am 15 years old, and I am in the Laguna Playhouse Youth Conservatory, and so through that program I've been able to get this opportunity to work in Footloose, which is such a wonderful opportunity. I've been dancing since I was 4 years old, and I take all types of dance, and when I was about 9 I got into the more theater and singing, and that's how I've gotten here. I played Mary Sue, who's in the teen ensemble, and so I dance a lot, but I'm Ren, who's the lead, I'm his cousin. She is from Beaumont, so she's grown up there her whole life, and she's one of the youngest of all the kids. And when Ren comes, she's got a little bit different view because, of course, he's a cousin. He's not some cute boy who just came. So she has a little bit of a different take when through all the scenes, because she lives with him because he's moved in with his aunt and uncle.
And when did you first start getting into musical theater?
I started getting into musical theater when I was 9 or 10-ish. My first show was when I was 10, and it was Charlotte's Web with the Laguna Playhouse Youth Theater. And I played one of the little baby spiders in that, and that was my first big moment where I was like, I have to pursue this.
So were your parents very supportive of you?
My parents have been so wonderful. I mean, they're the best. They're absolutely my rock. And my mom is a dancer, and she's been a dancer since she was a kid. And so we own a studio here, Positive Energy Dance Center, and so that's such a wonderful opportunity for me. And my dad loves this performance type thing. He's a teacher, and he always says that that's the craziest kind of performing you can do. So they've been so supportive, and it's such a wonderful thing for me.
So what do you think of the storyline of Footloose, where basically the parents either don't support their kids, or they don't care, or they just don't know how to be parents, and the kids just slip away? What do you think about that?
I think that it's definitely something that in today's world we have to be aware of, because there's such a disconnect between generations, and it's really important that we understand the children, and the children understand where their parents are coming from, because in a situation like that's that terrible, the parents have a whole different view on in a protective way, whereas the kids have this very young innocent outlook where they just want to have fun, and that whole idea of, oh well, that won't happen to me, is really important for the kids to understand, but it's also really important to understand that it's possible that it could. So your parents are coming from a good place, but it's always good to have that connection and that conversation and stuff.
Well, thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you so much.
Hi, my name is Ashton Marcus. I'm with KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine, and I'm with
Kaylee Mixer. I am currently 20 years old. I am studying a musical theater program at Coastal Carolina in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and I'm from San Diego. I am the female swing, and then I dance in the big finale at the end.
When did you first start getting into musical theater?
Well, I've been singing since I was maybe like 5 in my church choir, but I didn't really start musical theater until maybe high school, my freshman year, and then ever since then I fell in love with it.
Were your parents very supportive of you?
Oh yeah, all the way. I couldn't have done it without them, for sure. Yeah.
Great. So how important is that in a career in musical theater, having supportive parents?
I would say it's very supportive, but if your parents aren't supportive, it's not impossible. But it's definitely very, very helpful.
So what do you think of the storyline where basically the parents of the town just weren't, either they support their kids or they didn't care about their kids or they didn't know what to do? What do you think about that storyline where the parents just aren't there?
I mean, it's very challenging, but I feel like every adolescent teenager feels that at some point in their life, growing up and being, in their young teen, preteen years that they feel like their parents are against them. But it's something that they always have to address and come to terms with and discuss with their parents. And usually it's not quite as dramatic as they make it out to be in their heads.
Well, thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you. You too.
Footloose will be playing at the Laguna Playhouse from July 8th to August 9th. For more information, go to www.lagunaplayhouse.com or theorangecurtainrev.com.